I want to start this video off with a bit of irony that I'd like for you to contemplate, so if you'd like to pause this video after the following statement and reflect upon its deep underlying meaning, then feel free. But I really want you to understand what I mean when I say that many of us have completely lost our ability to enjoy life in the pursuit of happiness. Rephrased, many of us have completely lost the ability to enjoy life in the pursuit of the enjoyment of life. And what an ironic truth. It's only natural that our minds would believe pursuing happiness would give us happiness. Perhaps the pursuit itself will make us happier. Perhaps there's some end result where everything is exactly the way we want it. We've finally gotten where we wanted to be, achieved what we wanted to achieve, and we're surrounded by the people we love who love us in return. But it doesn't always seem to work out that way, does it? Here's one of many examples we could use to illustrate this concept. We fall in love. And we experience joy on a level we may have never even experienced before. Naturally, we assume it's because of the person we're with. They give me happiness. But maybe the relationship starts getting rocky and it begins to fall apart. And if it isn't salvaged, we may very well end up experiencing the exact polar opposite of the joy we once experienced from the same person. Most naturally, we assume it's due to that person. They caused me unhappiness. They made me sad, made me cry, made me depressed. So what do? There's great wisdom that can be learned from this experience if we desire that wisdom, but what do we normally do? We go on the rebound, of course. They must just not have been the one. So we go and look for another person to make us happy. Maybe the next relationship I'm in, I'll find the one for me, the one who will make me happy, make me experience joy. Or perhaps you're not into all that lovey-dovey nonsense. You've been there, you've done that, and you know the true source of happiness. Your career. So you work very, very hard because you know that nothing in life is just handed to you. You become the manager at your location. You become the district manager. You become the CEO. Life is good. You're not even sure what to do with all the money you're making, but at the same time, something inside of you just doesn't feel quite right. There must be something that you're missing because you just don't feel happy. But you know that you should be happy because that's what you told yourself these past 10 years as you worked your way up the corporate ladder. That next promotion and I'll be happy. That next pay increase and I'll finally be where I want to be. But then you get there and something's wrong. You know you should be happy, but you're not. So you wonder what's missing. That's it, I need a new car. And new clothes. And while I'm at it, I don't really like this house that much either. So you work harder and longer so you can buy all the things that you could ever want. And for a while, you're happy. You love this new house, this new car, these new clothes, that big screen TV. But then you realize something's wrong. You just don't feel quite right again. And you can't believe you spent all this time to buy these things that you knew would make you happy, yet you don't feel happy. So maybe you think there's just something wrong with you. You must have depression. You must just be prone to unhappiness. Maybe it runs in your family. You remember thinking your third cousin twice removed had bipolar disorder. Maybe you got some of his genetics. Or maybe you think, I thought I wanted that Lamborghini, but I guess I was just a Bugatti person after all. And you know what? They just came out with a 3D television that makes mine look like a thing of the past. Maybe I should go get that tomorrow. And we could continue on like this forever. There are many more examples I'm sure we could both think of. We could look for success, relationships, power, and maybe those things make us happy for a while, but somehow we always find that somewhere along the line we end up having the feeling that something's not quite right. Why aren't we happy? That brings us to the point of this discussion. A person who has the desire to be happy experiences at best fleeting moments of happiness. A person in the pursuit of happiness will often never find true happiness. The problem with searching for happiness or looking for things that make us happy is twofold. On the one hand, it is in the very essence of pursuit to assume that you do not already have what you're pursuing. To become happy, you must be coming from a place of unhappiness, or at the very least a place of neutrality or discontent. And on the other hand, the pursuit of happiness assumes that happiness is somewhere out there to be found, for you to obtain. If only you could find it, this elusive happiness. Every time I get my hands on it, it slips away and I can't find it. But one lifetime, one day, we all experience something that finally makes us realize we're doing something wrong. And we make the choice, should I look at this from a different perspective, or should I keep doing things the way I'm doing them? And one of those questions leads to enlightenment, and the other to suffering. And this isn't a bad thing, nor is it a good thing, it just is. Some people choose to experience suffering in order to shake themselves up and open their mind to different possibilities. Some people choose to experience suffering just because it's something available to experience, and why not? Why not experience the full spectrum of reality, from the love to the fear to the joy to the depression? These things teach us valuable lessons about ourselves, the world, and the very nature of existence. The only problem is, many people experience a very, very long life of suffering before they realize truth. I'm sure we've all heard the age-old adage, ignorance is bliss, and perhaps that could be true in certain realms of existence, but in this world I believe ignorance is exactly the opposite. Human suffering, negativity, fear, and a feeling of loneliness and lacking is all derived from the ignorance of truth. Because if we all knew how to feel happy, how to make the planet a better place, how to work together for the greater good of mankind, to end wars, promote technology, and explore our universe and beyond, well, we'd already be there. So education is the solution, and that is why all human experience leads to enlightenment, and therefore joy and happiness. All human experience leads to enlightenment, and this is important. If you don't take anything else away from this video, then remember that every experience anyone has in life leads them to enlightenment. Because through every experience we have in life, we learn lessons. And those lessons lift the veil of ignorance, bit by bit, experience by experience, slowly allowing truth to shine into our lives. And it is that truth that separates knowledge from wisdom. It is that truth that frees us from our own limiting beliefs. And therefore no religion, belief, or path anyone can take is better than any other. You see, because they are all our own paths to truth. Because all experiences in life lead us to learn the laws of our existence and teach us through the emotions of fear, joy, depression, love, passion, happiness, that no matter what we choose to believe, and no matter what we say or do, there exists absolute, immutable truth. And every action we take in this life leads us to understand this truth. And the only way we can come to fully know, understand, and comprehend truth is on our own path. Earlier I said, many people experience a very, very long life of suffering before they realize truth. So the only question remains, how arduous do we want our path to truth to be? How much suffering do we personally need to experience in order to understand what truly makes us and others happy? What truly makes the human race thrive, rather than just survive? Suffering isn't the only way, albeit an effective one, to find truth. Education is a very important tool to speed up this process and help ourselves and others find truth, and therefore learn what really makes us happy, and what our purpose is on this planet. And it's my hope that through videos like these I can help shorten the amount of suffering people need to experience to find the truth. And it's my hope that through education, compassion, and understanding we can all free our minds from our own limiting beliefs and find the truth that unites us all and sets us free. Because truth will indeed set you free. Free from the shackles and restraints we have imposed on ourselves with our very own minds in our pursuit for happiness. I'd like for you to imagine a high-security prison system. This prison has no guards, no barbed wire fences, no bars. It's sealed only with a single door. And in this prison are hundreds and thousands of people, but there are no children. Some of these people have been there so long they've forgotten it's even a prison. Some of them remember that it's a prison, but they don't know how to get out. And they're almost afraid to get out because they don't know what's on the other side. It's just the way things are, they think, so they make do. They get by. But they always have this feeling deep down that something isn't right. And on the wall, next to the only door out of this prison, is a single red button. But hardly anyone's even noticed it, and the few that have are afraid to push it, because they don't know what'll happen. But what I haven't told you yet is, on the other side of that door are endless fields of children, just playing, running through the fields, dancing in the rain, holding hands. And there are even a few adults. And they guide the children. They tell them never to go near the giant building at the end of the fields. The children, of course, ask them why, but the adults just can't explain it in a way that the children can understand. And unfortunately, there just aren't enough adults to explain and guide every single child. So often a group of children will be overlooked, and they'll get curious and enter the building at the end of the field. And the children are astonished to find hundreds and thousands of adults in this building, and they feel happy because they've finally found someone to guide them, someone to answer their questions. So they approach the adults in the building at the end of the fields, and they ask them, "What is this place?" A confused adult looks down at them and says, "What do you mean? This is life. This is all that there is." We already know the end of this story. The children grow up, and eventually they may even forget the fields even existed, because after all, this is all that exists. This is life. Or at least that's what they've been told ever since they entered the prison. There is, however, a positive end to this story, because on the wall with the red button next to the only door out of the prison is a tiny inscription, so small that you'd have to be looking for it to find it, that reads, "The truth will set you free." I'm Jordan Winslow, and this has been an Another Hero production.